Today we will talk about Adriana, a bar bought by prayer. Adriana was already an expert at planting churches in Colombia. The 35-year-old wife and mother had planted 6 churches over 15 years, and she was willing to help plant a 7th in a poor neighborhood south of Bogotá, Colombia's booming capital. But no one seemed able to find affordable space in a good location. The seed for the church was planted when WiLlinton, a former alcoholic from the neighborhood, gave his heart to Jesus and started a small Bible study group in his home. The group grew and had to move several times. Now 50 people met for worship every Saturday, and it was time for them to have their own church. Adriana belonged to another congregation that wanted to help WiLlinton's congregation plant the church. She looked at 5 properties, but none of them suited her. Then WiLlinton suggested a bar that he had frequented before he was baptized. The bar was in a central location, and it was for sale, but the price was too high. Adriana met with the owner of the bar. She explained that the church members wanted to buy their premises but did not have the funds. "Could you wait a year while we raise the money?" she asked. The owner did not want to wait and shook his head. Adriana begged him to reconsider, but he did not agree. However, he told her, "If your plan comes from God, this property will be yours." Adriana and other church members prayed to God and began raising money. Just then, a potential buyer came to look at the premises. He liked what he saw and agreed to buy it, so the church members wondered if they would lose the property. They prayed for God's will to be done. And it was. The potential buyer left and never came back with the money to buy it. Then another buyer came to the property and agreed to buy it. It looked like this time the sale would go through. The church members prayed again for God's will to be done, and the buyer did not come back with the money. The owner of the bar did not understand why the premises would not sell. He lowered the price and lowered it again. But still, he could not find a buyer. Adriana was convinced that God had a plan to turn the bar into an Adventist church and a center of influence. The center of influence would teach life skills to people in the community and help those struggling with alcoholism. Adriana visited the bar owner again. "You're not going to be able to sell this property," she said boldly. "You're going to sell it to us because it will become a place that will help the community and glorify God." A year passed, and the church members raised enough money to buy the property at the lowest price. A church leader visited the owner to close the sale. The owner expressed relief that he had finally been able to sell the premises. "I hadn't been able to sell this property because those Adventists had been praying to buy it," he said. 2 weeks later, the property was sold to the Adventist church. The final reduced price was half the market value of similar properties in the area. Today, Adriana praises God for the new church and the new center of influence. She says, "We all pray for this place. When God has a plan, nothing and no one can change it." Part of this quarter's 13th Sabbath offering will help open 2 centers of influence to help children who are at risk of falling into alcoholism and drug addiction in Colombia.